we don't need 100% of the market share. But a person that's heart is behind your vision and mission is for a life.
Yes.
Our short-term focus derails us for long-term gain. Yes, we can have systems, we can have processes in place. But ultimately, God is our provider.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Bizzin podcast. With me, I have David May. David, thank you so much for being here. And such an inspirational guy, and I really love and enjoy listening to you. And I think the audience is also just going to get so much from this. And I hope non-profit organizations listens to this. I hope that businesses listen to this, because I think it's a massive impact that you guys are busy making. And so we touched on it a little bit on a previous episode, financially and contributing financially into an organization like this. So maybe walk us through your journey, right? How did you start raising funds and start changing your perspective of what donations look like? Just maybe speak to us about a little bit about the logistics behind what's going into a non-profit organization from a financial aspect.
Awesome. Thanks, Desley, for having me here. And I'm glad we made it through the other podcasts, and you kept inviting me and asking me more questions. So I hope it's helpful for everybody listening. But thank you for the friendship and the incredible work you're putting together. It really is amazing. So I think, like any business, I think a startup is a startup.
Yes.
And the best image that I can think of is when you're starting a fire, maybe as, if I can say it this way, as an English boy, you don't always know how to make a fire. So you kind of like strike that match and you got the little flame and you're trying to get the dry grass on and you're like, and you're flapping and then anything that's dry, you're kind of putting it on and you're building it. It's kind of like how you start a startup.
Yes.
Whether it's for profit or not profit, like you're thinking like, oh, I need to find clients. I need to get people on board with this vision. And you're trying to think in any phone call that rings, you're like, yes, you need to be on board with this. Like, do you have this in your business? And so I think seeing that little flame, just as you get that flame, it's great to get the startup that way. But once the fire is actually catching, you need to start bringing in more structure.
Yes.
That, you place the wood strategically and then it builds.
Yes.
And I think the same way with a nonprofit or a profitable business, understanding what your vision is.
Yes.
And then in the beginning, it is a bit of a hustle. You're on the go. You are phoning off the hook. As a nonprofit, I took the responsibility, and I don't do it as often anymore. I should get back into that habit. But I'll cold call businesses. And you'll be surprised at how many businesses, they don't know what a nonprofit is. They don't know what CSI is. And they're like, we watched the show. Like, it's really nice. And you're like, no, I'm not talking about like a murder scene or like I'm talking about, give me back into the community. Like, I haven't seen that one. So I think, again, being clear on your vision and knowing what your approach is. So again, what I've realized with business people is business people want clarity. They want to know what your ask is. They know as soon as you phone. I would say 95% of business owners, when you phone them and you ask for a meeting and you say you're from a nonprofit, they know you're going to put out an ask somewhere.
Definitely.
So ask it.
Yes.
Don't shy or be unclear about it. But also have an answer.
Yes.
So if they say, we want to partner with you, we would love to give you money. How much money as a nonprofit do you want? And what's it for?
Exactly.
So be clear on the back end as well, because any business person understands that. I want to build a house. Oh, no, just build. No, we'll cover all the costs. No, nobody works like that. Everybody wants to know the cost.
Yes.
So explain that. If you want to come out and volunteer for an hour, it's for an hour. Then you can go. If you're sitting down and you're mentoring an entrepreneur, we're asking for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Because this is what it would look like.
Yes.
So we can explain to people what the ask is.
Sure. Yeah.
So that both sides have a clear understanding.
Yeah, that's great.
So when we started Empower, it would literally be reaching out to anybody that I had a relationship with.
Yeah, sure.
So what I mentioned earlier in a previous podcast was, registering a nonprofit is kind of the easiest thing.
Yes.
Getting a PTY can take you a couple of days.
Yeah.
That's the easiest. Then you got your office ready and you're like, I don't have any clients. How do we find these people?
Yeah.
And I think that is, how are you strategically reaching out and connecting with people?
Yeah.
But realizing that you stay in a lane.
Yeah, sure.
And for us, our vision is clear. We want to empower entrepreneurs and champions as a focus.
Yeah.
So for us, I'd sit with a business person. Business person's like, yeah, this is exciting and da-da-da. And you're like, yes, this is going forward.
It's going well, yeah.
And then 50 minutes in, they're like, we like dogs. And you're like, I don't know.
We like dogs.
But I'm like, you know what? Let me rather connect you with Odin.
Yes.
Or SPCA. Or PDSA,
sure.
Because they deal with that. That is your passion that we want to turn into action. And even though on the inside I'm like, oh, we needed that finances, or we needed that, or ultimately God is our provider.
Yes,
and we've got to put our trust there.
Sure.
So if our trust is there, whoever that person is, we're not begging, we're not asking. We are asking. We're not begging for something. We're putting out an ask.
Yes.
And that ask is two ways. We want to empower that business person just as much as we feel they can empower us.
Sure.
And that's a relationship that we want to go on. So our mission is to connect, empower, which is both ways, and then to launch. Because we want the business person to launch and grow in their business and strengthen. And we want to grow and strengthen. So how do we win-win?
Yeah, sure. So, getting into that, like you said, sometimes you need to do cold calling. Sometimes you just need to go and you need to explain, and it takes time. And then maybe the guy's passion is not necessarily what Empower is standing for. And it comes down to even a profitable business. In the beginning, when you sign up clients or when you go out to find clients, you're going to get some no's. So what was the biggest mindset and the change that you had to make mentally to see the no as an opportunity rather to get demotivated on that?
Sure. Great questions. I think two sides. One, are you clear on your vision and where you see yourself ending up?
Yeah.
And realizing that, not everybody's going to be on board with that.
Yes.
And to be okay with that up front. But to know the race that you're running in.
Yes.
And to make that a win. I think another thing that helped me come to terms with that, and it can apply to any nonprofit profitable.
Yeah.
We don't need 100% of the market share.
Yes.
We would all love 100% of the market share, and we're the only ones that do this. And every business is involved, and every person that needs accounting work is coming to you. That's what our dream is.
Yeah.
But I remember chatting to a youth pastor, and when I first moved to George, and said, the youth is a couple of hundred people, and that's fantastic. And they said to me, David, how many high schools are there in George?
Sure.
I was like, I can think of 4, maybe 5 at a push. They're like, there's 10.
Wow.
And they said, just imagine on a conservative number that there are 1,000 students in each of those high schools.
Yeah.
That means there's 10,000 youth.
Sure. Yeah.
A couple of hundred is not even 10%.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we will not hold back until we can see that number achieved.
Sure.
And I think for me, navigating the spaces of some of those no's to say, okay, maybe it's a no now, but it's a not yet.
Exactly.
And how do we build relationships? So again, I think our short-term focus derails us for long-term gain.
Yeah.
Because we're like, oh, we need that amount of money now.
Yeah.
And if we don't get that money now, we're done.
Yeah.
But we neglect the long-term relationship building with people that can go on a journey. And I remember working for another nonprofit, and, you know, probably the business mind in my mind.
Yeah.
I got used to, you know, the first time it was like a shock.
Yeah.
At the end of hosting people coming to see us, a person would always be like, oh, what's your biggest need right now?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, then I was like, David, you know what? Just dream the biggest dream and just say that.
Exactly.
What's your biggest need? A whole new classroom. That would cost $1 million.
Yeah.
Like, and people would be like, okay, we're praying for you.
Yeah.
And I felt on my journey, God convict me on that, that the biggest need is not a tangible thing that cannot go to eternity.
Yeah.
The biggest need is the person.
Sure. That's
So
good.
I realized that. I felt convicted. And then people would say, what's your biggest need?
Yeah.
My biggest need. Do you want to know what it is? Yeah, I want to know. Can I tell you? Yeah. It's you.
Yeah. Sure.
The person's like, what do you mean me?
Yeah.
We want your heart.
Yeah.
Because again, I think,
Come
you know,
on.
a once-off contribution is once off.
Exactly.
But a person that's heart is behind your vision and mission is for a lifetime.
Yes.
And we want to grow and empower people to follow a vision.
Sure. That's amazing.
Lost and create a legacy.
Come on, man. That's powerful stuff. And I mean, like, I want to touch on that that you said now, like the monthly contribution and getting that person bought in forever, right? And basically they get committed to the cause of Empower. They get committed to the projects that you're running. I mean, was it a transition to get to a point where you get, as you would call them, investors for the organization? Was it a transition to say, well, I don't just want your once-off contribution, I want you to actually start contributing on a monthly basis so that you can become invested in the project? What was the transition to get business owners to think like, I'm going to rather become invested monthly rather than once off?
So that was our wording from day one.
Okay.
So we were privileged to start with that wording. Kind of intentionally, unintentionally.
Yes.
When we started Empower, to be realistic, it had some savings that from the profitable business that I had been in for 6 months allowed me like 2 months.
Sure.
So 2 months to go on.
Yeah.
And the only funding coming into Empower was from a mate of mine in Cape Town.
Sure.
Giving 1,000 Rand a month.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, God, like you are my provider. And I feel that you've called me in this. So we give people the opportunity to choose.
Sure. Yeah, that's amazing.
You know, I think gone are the days where one size cap fits everybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, we all have different head shape sizes. You know, so why do we think that how we do life must be a one size fits all?
Exactly. Yeah.
No. Here's what we suggest, but let's have a coffee. And you can tell me, I prefer giving a once a year donation.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And we need those because they help carry us in certain elements. Others are like, we can only contribute this every month.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's the power of the collaboration and the togetherness that we need every aspect that strengthens us.
That's amazing.
And it takes time to build that.
Definitely.
So we love quoting, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it wasn't. But when we build our own Rome inside of us, why isn't it finished today?
Exactly.
Why isn't it finished? And we need that now.
We need it now. Yeah.
No, allow the process and then allow the faith aspect.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, we can have systems, we can have processes in place.
Yeah.
But ultimately, God is our provider.
Definitely.
God is our Father that will interject and say, go chat to Desley or go chat over here or chat to this person. And you're thinking, I don't know this person.
Yeah.
But God is doing something in their lives.
Sure.
And I think, again, value the eternal.
Yes.
Value the kingdom principles.
Yes.
And when that is the priority, these things take place by itself.
Come on.
I mean, it's a biblical principle in
Yes.
itself. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and everything else will be added.
Sure.
We like to go after the everything else. And then we're like, okay, God, we'll seek you now.
Yeah.
No, seek, and then add.
Sure. Amazing. David, thank you so much for sharing on that. And I think for every person listening from a non-profit organization's perspective, is just to change their perspective on how they see raising funds, how they see donations coming in. Like you said, you mentioned it's a journey. And I think for me as well, in the beginning with the business, when you spoke about market share, and it's probably big enough for everyone to make a living out of it. In the beginning, people are on Facebook, we need an accountant, and I see 100 other accounting firms' names come up, and I'm like almost feeling like, I'm never going to get there. And in a couple of, like a year or two ago, I just started understanding, like, we have a specific goal. We have a specific purpose. The right clients are going to come our way. And like you say, God will provide for whoever needs to come to our organization. And I love that the perspective behind that, the way you think about it, it's a lifelong investment that people are making. David, thank you so much for the work that you're doing. I look forward to our last one next. Guys, thank you so much for joining another episode of the Bizzin podcast, and stay tuned for our last episode with David May.